Okay, mate, it's absolutely beautiful today. A bit of change up. So the process of what's happening so far is I'm actually resheeting my entire skate park. I'm putting in more ribs. As I said probably in one of the other videos if you are watching, the spine I'm actually making it into pretty much a miniature box jump. So obviously it's going to have a bit of a top deck on it to obviously land on and do stuff, but it's still going to have quite a bit of like distance to obviously do stuff like you would over a box. So I'm just going to show you what I've done so far, and my goodness man, like, don't get me wrong, I am using cheap ply because these days to sheet this entire park up, if I brought every sheet properly and like the really good stuff, it would have been close to $4,000. That's how much. And all the sheeting that you see here, and then obviously what you've seen on my Insta story in the shed, actually cost me 150 bucks cash. So I think I'm happy just to replace it once a year. It does really well. It handled the weather this far up to now. To be honest, I could have just left it on. It still was quite fine. The only bad thing was one of the ribs decided to break. Didn't realise when I was putting it in, there's a nice little hole in it right there. So I'm not sure how I missed that. So I'll probably be reusing that one for something else. But anyways, I'm just going to show you what I've done so far, and yeah, go from there. Alrighty then. So as you can see, I'm pulling these top boards off. I am going to replace obviously these ones down here, and I'm going to replace that one. The rest of it still looks pretty good, still looks quite dry, so if I don't have to pull it apart, I'm not going to. Obviously going to replace those, all the ones on top. You can see these ones are just absolutely buggered from the weather. This one's just, that was just rooted. And then as you can see, so this is, now you gotta remember, I've never built anything like this in my life. And when I was building this before, I had literally like no money because I just bought a house, and I pretty much just did like, I practically paid for things as soon as I got a bit of cash underneath me that we could obviously spare. I brought the wood down a place in Kelmscott Salvage Yard here. Unfortunately though, when I got to the last bits of like finishing, and I was so excited and I wanted to get it done, they ran out of wood. And there was about 6 months delay of them actually getting any more. And the wood I needed at the time was Bunnings. They were having a shortage as well. And also then at the same time, I couldn't afford 60, 70 bucks for a bit of wood, you know? It just wasn't possible. Like these ones were like $11, $15 each from this guy. And they're really good for what I paid for. But that's why then, you know, I was able to get so many. So at the moment, as you can see, there's quite a few ribbings here, but then there's like barely any ribbings there. As you can see, you can fit a whole Toby in it. Hey boy, he's just searching for grub. But now I've got the coin, I've got the money, I'm actually gonna put more ribs in it. I brought heaps more, so I'm actually going to be putting practically 1 or 2 almost in each slot, and it's going to feel much better. And then with the spine, I'm practically going to take this all apart, just this side, and practically just reshape it a bit more. As I said, never reshaped actually quarters before, so this was my first attempt, but I've had a lot more practice now, so I know for a fact that next time it's going to feel pretty amazing. And as you can see how many ribs are in it, I'm actually going to double that. So when we actually put this back together and take off from it, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be so poppy and kicky, but at the same time it's going to be like riding up like the 6-foot quarters at the back there. So again, I brought more wood for that, and yeah, I'm very keen to get it on. So anyways, I'm just going to bring you guys along today. I'm going to do a few time lapses, and at the moment I'm just pulling everything apart. So eventually, and then hopefully by next week, the rain actually stops for quite a few weeks apparently. So fingers crossed in those few weeks I'll get everything done. If I can have about 2 or 3 days solid at this, I'll get everything done, because the rest of the park's actually still alright. I just need to swap out the top sheets, make that all fresh again. I don't need to touch the red, I don't have to touch any of that. And like I said, with this side of things, you know, I just got to change the top sheet on this. Obviously, I'm going to be replacing all of this bit. And yeah, practically go from there. And then I'll be pretty much building another structure over here, but that's not yet because I've got something very delicious coming all the way from somewhere on a boat. I'm so excited. I can't wait to show you guys. I can't believe I even brought one. I can't believe it's actually coming over and I'm gonna be setting it up in my own backyard. So we're gonna have this. It's turning out to be almost a training facility. So I'm very excited and yeah, let's get it going. Okay guys, so obviously done a bit of work. So as you can see, I'll remove that. I'm about to remove this piece. As I said, that's still all good. At the very up top there, I'll put a new piece on it. But if I can save as much of the pliers as I possibly can now, because as you can see, that piece there, like I got a gut feeling all the pieces that are from the spine onwards underneath is going to be really good, because I'm able to obviously tarp it up the way it does. The water kind of comes here. Here's a bit hard. I got to kind of tarp it up somehow, but still the water hits in the middle, soaks in, and then unfortunately it damages it. So, but besides that, we're making some good progress. Okay guys, we've made some progress since the last time I filmed. My goodness, it's like once I get the sheeting off, everything else comes apart quite nicely. Exactly kind of how I designed it, I guess, in a way. So as you can see, I've practically just pulled the spine apart. So pretty much this is obviously the lander here. I am going to make this, take this foam off and put some actual mattresses, like really thick, probably queen or king size ones down, because I want to make this more mellow. It was really good for a spine. The only bad thing was the kicker didn't have enough ribs. Every time you hit it, you could feel the bottom, it kind of like bounced you. So that was really awkward. Obviously, like I said, it was my first time ever building something like this, and I wasn't happy with it, how it was, even when we actually put it together for the first time. But then I just thought the amount of time and effort I've spent on it, the amount of hours I spent on it as well, yeah, I definitely wanted to actually just ride it. But look, it's going to be so much better once I'm done with it. The ideal bit is now, obviously, is to reshape those quarters. I'm just gonna make it a little bit more mellow and obviously make the curve a little bit nicer. I did realize there was a few flat spots in it, so that's probably why it didn't feel so good. But obviously the ideal now is to take this rib out and then pretty much push that quarter into it, and then pretty much just like later on cut a little bit there. So wherever the spine's going to obviously be sitting, so I'm guessing for a good gap, we could easily put it here to this bar. So obviously it still leaves quite a bit of a space. So when you actually still hit it, you still got all that time and then the quarter, but at least you're gonna have a pretty half decent gap. As I said, it's not going to be a huge box. It's going to be a mini one, but enough to actually send big stuff over, because like I said, it is a 5.5 foot quarter, and I want to make sure where if you want to go for something big like flips, front flips, 3-whip bars, all that type of stuff, it's still going to give you that pop, but at the same time it's going to just feel absolutely amazing. So yeah, just hopefully everything works out really well. Okay guys, so I kind of forgot to keep filming. I just got carried away, man, but heck, I got a lot done. So what you would have seen is me just removing the ply, removing that board and a few other things. So what I've done so far is I've removed the spine, I've reshaped it, lined it up, made it a little bit more mellow so it's a bit more nicer. This is it so far. Look at that. Like, look how many more ribs I've actually put in it. Like, you could almost practically ride down on your bike. So that's what I did with the 6 foot, and they just feel solid, fast, just buttery smooth. But yeah, I mean, besides that though, it's looking really good, and I'm really happy with it. So here you go, look at that. Now I'm pretty sure you would have seen at the start of how many ribs there barely was. Like, I counted there was about 11 ribs. Oh, obviously, no, sorry, 12, including that one at the bottom, but there was literally 12 ribs. Now there's over 20. I put about 21 in here. You can just see how much more it looks better, like, and also I made it more mellow. So I've actually cut it down. What I need to do next, and it will be happening, is I'll be getting rid of these, so cutting that down, same as that one, and then I've actually built a top decking bit here. So I've just got it covered for now because it is meant to be raining later on, but underneath you can have a look. So it's all structurally massive hole right in the middle to obviously just to give it that extra support, and then go from there. And then I've just got that sheeted over as well because the ply that's still on here, I still want to keep that dry as possible, so when I do sheet it next, shouldn't be any issues. But as you can see over here, I've put even more ribbing in. So at the start it was like all square, crisscross, all that stuff. Oh, it was just so, it was horrible. It was not a lot on there, but I've re-ribbed that to be the same as this. So that's going to be so much nicer and better when you land on it. And also in the future as well, when the ply does get wet, it's actually not going to put much holes in it. Unfortunately, what happened before is I had so many holes, and also had to make some really weird cutouts just to obviously get it, the ply to sit into the place. That's probably why it took me so long, but at least with this, I know for a fact I can do quick sheets, cut it to a point where it sits on the rib perfectly, and then go from there. So I'm really excited to get that going. And then as you can see here, I've even doubled up the ribs onto there. Now underneath here, I don't need to take that sheet off and obviously do the ribs underneath, because when I was building this, I ribbed it from the 6 foot ramp backwards, and I actually ended up putting most of the ribs at the front, which is why when I got to the end I ran out of wood, and like I said, they didn't have any more wood. I ran out of money. I just really wanted to ride the park. So now I'm really excited to get this going. Anyways, we'll catch you in the next video. Like and subscribe, and wait until you see the cinematic.